Good morning, CFTA. Woo! Is everyone having a good time so far? I'm going to ask that again. Is everybody having a good time so far? Yes. Yes. And I know that because I see a lot of smiling faces. I see a lot of old friendships and new acquaintances coming, and it's beautiful. So I'm so glad everyone's here. We had a lovely new attendee meetup this morning, and it's great to see some new folks. For those of you that have been to CFTA the past couple of years, this is a high. We have 195 people here this year. We were full at 200. That's where our cutoff was. So we are in a wonderful spot at CFTA this year. We are reaching new heights, and we are very excited for the growth ahead. New attendees, please stand up. Please stand up, new attendee. Wow. So a couple of years ago, I could ask people, have you heard of CFTA? And they say, no, which is amazing to me because the organization has been around for almost 30 years. Now, it was the NCCC. How many folks have attended NCCC conferences? See, there's a lot of hands. There's some history with this association that a lot of you don't or may not know of. But what we do have is a long-running history of passionate, like-minded people that come together to solve problems. Now, the NCCC was first started because of CAD. Back then, CAD was the disruptive technology. It shook things up. And people had to solve problems and learn these new tools, and they came together to meet annually for AutoCAD. Now, we have many disruptive technologies and many problems that we're all trying to solve. And that's what the Campus FM Technology Association does, is bring people together to learn from each other. So we do have over 200 members this year, which again is another big milestone. We do stem 34 states, 53 business partners, and 64 campus areas. The majority of our attendees here are distribution between directors, managers, and analysts. Now, if you guys remember when you filled out your individual registration form, do you remember those weird questions that asked you about your campus? Well, I'm going to show you your data. So this is your information that you supplied during registration. Now, not everybody gave the information, and we actually have these baked in as attributes to the membership directory. So anyone here can go into our CFTA website, and you can find partners who have similar makeups of your campus, and you can connect with them after this event. Find this information. So of this reporting, and you can see at the top, it says quantity of 70. So 70 people shared this information here today that they are majority of public campus funding type. Most of you are more than 30 in your department. Have a lot of between 5 and 7. As far as your budget source, most are a combination of general fund and recharge. And most are larger than 1,200 acres. However, what you will see is the small campus sizes are still in second place. So we have a high and a low. And so there are a wide range of problems and needs, but you can share what you're doing on a small scale or a large scale, and you can get answers in this group. Most of you do have remote campuses and are larger than 15 million square feet. BIM, how many are in BIM? Not so much. Why? Because it's tough. It's not easy. It's hard to get started. Some people don't even know where to get started. They're so overwhelmed where to start. So that's what we're here. BIM is a hot topic here, so is GIS. Majority of you are in Esri. There are some Munsys out there, Munsys and CAD Esri hybrid in progress. CAFM systems. The majority of you are in Asset Works and Famous. For maintenance management, TMA, Maximo, Famous, and Asset Works. And it'll be interesting because we're going to strive to produce these as reports every year, and we're going to see where things change and where things flow, where people are taking on new solutions and maybe stepping away from existing. It's a very dynamic landscape. Document management, Meridian. Now, homegrown is second, but if you look at some of the other data on the screen, I think a lot of these are homegrown. Windows Explorer. Box drive. Assorted shared folders. I think there's a lot of opportunity in document management. Because what we're trying to do, what facilities owners want, is we want timely access to current information when and how we want it. I might want an Excel. I was actually really good today when I was putting these slides together for some quick graphs. I wanted Excel. But I also want mobile. And I want it fast. I also want it on my desktop. So there's a lot of different range between heavy and light clients and file-based. Because what we have is this goal of system utopia. That's what we all want. We're striving for a system utopia. We have these very complex facilities environments, a lot of moving parts, a lot of people, a lot of entities in our organizations doing a lot of things. And we just want to basically click a button and get answers to anything within our facilities operations. So that's the goal of system utopia. So this was a fun slide. It actually was not fun because I was in the car at the moment when that traffic was happening. And I had heard my mother-in-law was actually on that same stretch of road, and it took her 2 hours to get through this stretch, this construction or accident. We didn't know. But I knew it was a problem. I knew I didn't want to have to sit in traffic. So, you guys know what this is? Waze, but what is it? Google. Google Maps. How many people do Google Maps for routing? Okay, and now imagine if you wanted to use Google Maps for routing and it wasn't available, right? You'd be like, where's my Google Maps? I need it. I need to get around this traffic. So we're kind of tied to it and we rely on it. So I relied on it because I wanted to get around from this traffic. But what you do see, and exactly what Steve said, is you see Waze. You see a lot of crowdsourced data. You see your GPS location in your device that's connecting you to this point on our Earth. And it's giving me answers and different optimized solutions brought together to give me information to make an answer from. So you can see it's a 26-minute route, an extra 27 minutes slower, plus 5 down that little connection. There's an alternative route that's 2 minutes slower. So it's a lot of information. But 20 to 30 years ago, that's what you had. And if you think about it with GIS, I mean, what, 80s, 70s is when it started, and now we have the whole amazing data set. But it takes a while. These are long-term, long-range, guerrilla systems that don't happen overnight. And we all get this. We all get that we want to chip it away because we're going someplace big. But a lot of people want this quick, and it's not quick. It takes time. But this is the map that people had about 20 to 30 years ago, USGS Topo, to make decisions from. You also had a state atlas. Now, I think a lot of us know these because those fat lines are our nemesis because they didn't scale. Now they scale. So this is a Google map. It's clean, and it's scaled, and I can definitely deduce more from it. But this is what we want. We want optimized information. And this is where people come together to share this information to create these solutions. There was a presentation last year that talked about how information does not diminish in value like a truck. It increases in value with use, and it increases in value when tied to other information. So this is multiple information coming together and it's offering more value. Now, technology alone does not solve our problems. People do. Processes do. And so the mindset here with a lot of thought leaders is that it's 40% people and relationships, 40% processes, and 20% is the technology. And so what we really want to do is bring people together to learn the processes we're all doing and find out what the best solution technology is to implement it. And that's what we're here to do. So who attended the pre-conference sessions yesterday? Yeah, were they good? Yeah. I heard some really good feedback. We had 8 pre-conference sessions this year from world leaders, from world speakers, Lynn Allen. Wow. It's a big time for people to come together and just listen for a little bit more under the hood. There were 90 minutes. Today our sessions are 45 minutes, and tomorrow the sessions are 30 minutes, just so you guys know. Lynn Allen is our featured keynote today. Lynn Allen is our featured keynote today. Yes. I think that most of us know Lynn Allen, and it's a very exciting day here at CFTA to have her here, and she'll be up here in a few minutes. So our breakout sessions, like I mentioned, are today and tomorrow, 31 sessions. We've got the little dancing guidebook in the top right corner. If you have not downloaded it, please do. It has everything in there. It keeps you on track. And we actually added a new feature this morning. Jay Young with Imagine It, he was like, hey, I have this guidebook from this last conference I went to, and why don't you have this? This is a really cool feature, and why don't you have it? Well, we have it now. So we added it this morning, and what you'll see is with the attendee directory, you can add people to your to-do list. So if you're like, hey, Monty, I want to follow up with him later, you can add it, and it'll add to your contacts. So if you want to remember people after this, go ahead and check the boxes, and you'll have your own little build-out of a contact list. Now, don't be worried if you can't attend a session. There's a lot of good ones. We do have 4 tracks. All sessions will be recorded. So if you can't go to something today, you can go back. I'm sure you'll watch it on the plane going home. Special treats during both lunches. Today, we have a blue ribbon panel, Campus of the Future, where higher ed experts are going to come up here and talk about the research and their definition of what makes the campus of the future. Very exciting. Plan On is leading this session with Gretchen Tucker from UK and Larry Barkley as a managing partner. Tomorrow's keynote is with Carlos with technology trends and 5 best practices. And today we are going to conduct some official business of bringing in Julius Paulo into the board of directors. CFTA does have to carry out business. In case you guys are wondering why we have members and membership, yet you're not paying for membership dues, so to speak, it's all part of the conference, it's because we actually need to run business, and we have a board of directors and officers that are passionate about doing all of this. We're all volunteers, believe it or not, that make this happen. So we're bringing on Julius. Our campus members, you do have a ballot. It's going to be in your back of your name tag. So please do come and vote, because we need your votes to conduct business. It really is that simple. Now, tomorrow's all-member meeting is going to be a little bit meatier. We're going to talk about the strategic plan that CFTA launched. Over the past year and a half, we worked with a nonprofit consultant. We put out an environmental scan and surveys to you and to the leadership of what we needed to drive the organization forward, and we did produce a published strategic plan. So we will go over what those perspectives are and what our goals are for the next 5 years, and we'll make it fun, so hopefully you'll show up and learn a little bit about where we're heading. We are also going to be releasing some fun things like a new award, the Project Showcase Award. Because as you all know, when you go to other associations, there's awards. Awards are fun. Awards are opportunities to pat people on the back and say, good job, you did really good. But what CFTA wants to do is not just highlight the one that does good and is the winner, but to highlight the many. So what we're going to do is through this process of you submitting your information, sharing screenshots of your solution, we are going to take all of the submissions and we're going to put them on the CFTA website as a library. So you can look through it and you can get inspiration from what other people are doing in their projects instead of it being hidden in a YouTube video somewhere. So some of you, if you have business partners or if you have other collaborators you're working with and you want to do this pair up, do. It's a whole website and you can submit your information and you will get recognized. Thursday, we do have tours. They are pretty good looking, I got to say. I mean, we have the LBJ Presidential Library, architecture, I don't even know what the visualization laboratory is, but it sounds cool, Sue. It is going to be hot out there. We usually do tours in the afternoon at CFTA, but it is Austin in August. So we're switching it up and doing it in the morning. Do prepare. You all got snacks in your bag. You got a bar, so bring your snack if you want it. Stay hydrated. It is very hot out there. Thursday night, very fun special event, totally Texas, Austin style. So Cooper's Old Town Pit Barbecue. I heard it's one of the best places around here. So you guys are getting some of the best food in town. And then a 3-chord rodeo, a live band is going to be there for us. And the special events are a really good time. Those who know CFTA know that we don't settle for boring. We juice it up, and we used to have karaoke on the buses, and that was a fun year. So do come out for that. Oops, sorry. Now, there's games. As you know, you go to conferences and you always have these little games between the partners and the attendees to connect us. Well, at CFTA, we jazz it up. So the game is this thing called a breakfast blind bidding bonanza. And if you guys have attended any of these, they're crazy. People are getting money from each other and winning things, and it's a hoot. So that's the Friday morning raffle. And so what that looks like is all the partners here have been given money. It's fake money. And if you go talk to a partner, they'll give you a 10. They'll give you a 10 spot. If they like you, they might give you more. So be nice. But they only have a little bit of money. They don't have a lot of money. It's not unlimited. So you better go talk to them before the money's gone. Now, in past years, we've had some folks who understand that we have really, really good prizes. I mean, really good prizes. And that got out, and so last year, I mean, people were like winning they were hoarding all of the money and winning everything. So we're cutting y'all off. Those smart people out there, you get a 2-prize max. Oh yeah, we're on to you. And so now we do have this fun thing called a Spark session, and it's right before the lunch session. It's a 75-minute rapid fire Spark session. We have 22 or 23 partners doing 3-minute presentations. It's crazy. And I have a buzzer, and if you go over your 3 minutes, I buzz you off the stage. And so that's going to happen. And then what's really wonderful about that is you get to see who's here, what their solutions are. They get to quickly tell you about it. And so then those conversations can dive down deeper afterwards and not worry about what they're doing, but let's talk about how we can do it together. Now, the Friday on conference is another fun thing. It's really where the glue binds us. After these next couple of days, you're going to be infused with breakout sessions, infused with information, infused with relationships, and it's kind of tiring. We know that. You're running all over the place. Well, on Friday, you just get to kind of sit for 2 to 3 hours and have these roundtable discussions, and it really is the highlight of CFTA. People say it's the cherry on top and the best thing. So if you can stay for it, if you're thinking about bowing out, because a lot of people do on the last day of a conference, I get it, it really is the crown jewel of the conference. And this year we have a special guest. McCarthy is doing a poll planning session, and he's going to be leading and enhancing the end deliverable. So little shake-up for this year's unconference. I'm going to tie it down with acknowledgments. I would like to thank the board of directors for all of their hard work this year. Again, volunteers, and we come together to make it happen, as well as task forces, the task force members. So why don't you all just join me in a round of applause for. Now, we can't do this alone. This does take an army. And to align with CFTA's strategic plan, we released a new partnership this year. It's STAR Partner. It actually stands for Sharing Technologies and Resources, because that's what we are doing. We're sharing technologies and resources. So we launched a STAR Partner program, and Plan On Corporation is our STAR partner this year. So I just want to thank Plan On for their above and beyond support. Our diamond partners, again, they keep the lights on. So we have ASSA ABLOY, Autodesk, Esri, FM Systems, CAD Micro, Imagine It. Our gold sponsors, ARC Facilities, Dunaway, Langen, Emerson, RMG, Hagerman, and our bronze sponsors. Please join me. ACAD, Barclay, OpenSpatial, Osram, Time-Based Systems and Player. Thank you so much. And we actually have lots of other sponsors this year. We have the breakfast sponsors, the special event sponsors. When you go to the tours, Patrick Engineering has a little hand fan to keep you guys cool. This is what happens. It all comes from our partners. So thank you, partners. And now I get to zip it up and hand the mic over to our local host. Now, before I do, I want to say that the person I'm going to invite to the stage is someone that I have worked with over the past couple of years. And one thing that has always stood out is her strength and presence and her ideas. And so most of you know that I've been the president of CFTA for 4 years, and this will be my last year as president, and Sue Stewart is our incoming president. So over the next couple of days, I welcome you to engage with her and have conversations with her and tell her what your asks are of CFTA, what you like, what you want more of, because she's your future leader. And she's also this year's local host. So thank you, Sue. Come on up. You're so sweet.
Whew. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Austin, Texas. Hello. My name is Sue Stewart, as Michelle mentioned. That was very lovely. I have some very big shoes to fill. Hopefully I can do it with my own flavor. It is my distinct pleasure and privilege to welcome you here today on behalf of the Campus FM Technology Association. I want to thank each and every one of you for traveling this far. Some of you have come a long distance, perhaps maybe defied travel bans, maybe just hopped over a few counties. But let this serve as a reminder of just how important this annual event is to all of us and the work we do. So today is the 11th annual CFTA conference, and the University of Texas at Austin is proud to be this year's host school. So you guys have got a few moments to enjoy some of the lovely Austin weather. I think we need those Patrick Engineering fans. And I'd love to tell you a little bit about the place I call home. So Austin was founded in 1838. It's a small, diverse city. It's known as the live music capital of the world. We have enough tech presence to be called Silicon Hills. And it's the birthplace of Whole Foods Market. We have the largest urban bat population, which many of you have taken the time to go see. I hope they showed up. We have lots of celebrities that live here and call Austin home. People like Matthew McConaughey, who is UT's own Minister of Culture, Sandra Bullock, Andy Roddick, Willie Nelson, to name a few. We have a Formula One track, the only one in the United States. We have over 2,000 food trucks and probably just as many barbecue joints. You'll find breathtaking views, lakes, park, outdoor, family, and we're guided by the principle of keep Austin weird. And I guess maybe after your few days here, keep it hot. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about the host school where I work. University of Texas first opened its doors in 1883, and today is a world-renowned higher education, research, and public service institution. We serve more than 51,000 students every year through 18 top-ranked schools and colleges. Myself, I am not a Longhorn, but it's hard to resist their traditions and spirits. We have Bevo, our Longhorn mascot. Very, very cool. We have distinctive burnt orange and white school colors. Texas football, which is an institution here in Texas, and one of the most recognizable hand symbols in the world. So right now I feel very much like I'm hosting Saturday Night Live. So we have a great week planned for you guys today. Lynn Allen is here. We are about to get this party started. I want to thank Michelle. I want to thank Ann, Jillian, Liz, all of you for being here. So I'd like to extend a great Texas-sized welcome to the annual 2019 CFTA conference here in the capital city of Austin at the University of Texas.
Stay up here for 1 second. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, without further ado, Miss Lynn Allen.
Good morning. I think that we need to give Michelle a great big round of applause. She's worked really hard. I know she's done a lot in the years that she's been president. She's done a great job with the organization. I know that everybody's going to miss you. And I know that Sue, where'd she wander off to? Right there, is going to do a great job. Congratulations. So, and I think it's been like, I don't know, was it 5 years ago or something when you invited me to do this keynote? It feels like it was a long time ago. It was about 1.5 years ago that Michelle asked me to do this keynote, and I don't even remember what she asked me to talk about. So I picked my summer vacation. I didn't have a summer vacation, so it's going to be really short, but not really. We're not going to talk about that. And I am from Portland, Oregon, and our motto is keep Portland weird. So it's confusing to me. And I actually did some research. I found out that you had it first. Austin had it first. And I don't know, Portland came along and said, yeah, that sounds good, and just did a search and replace and copied the t-shirts and everything and decided that we could use the same motto. I don't know what to say about that. So my role is an evangelist for technology, and I spend a lot of my time, I'm kind of sitting in this corner because I don't want to stand behind this. So we discussed this earlier, right? I don't want to be behind a podium. So I might come down there. I'm going to figure this out as I go. But I spend a lot of time working with people, introducing them to all different types of technology and helping them be comfortable with technology and helping them embrace technology. And I run into a lot of people that are really resistant to change. But my goal, of course, is to help them see the bright, beautiful future and to eventually kind of give in and cave and hopefully embrace it and live happily ever after. And here you are at this technology conference, so I would imagine that you guys are more likely to embrace change and more likely to want to move forward. You might run into some obstacles at your colleges and universities that keep you from embracing change, but that you are more likely at the forefront of the land of technology and that you are all in, right? Totally all in? Anyway, you're here to learn about some great technology this week. So before we get started, I wanted to do something. And I know some of you have done this before, but I'd like for you all to fold your hands like so. All right. And take a look at which thumb you have on the top. I'd like you to raise your hand if your right hand was on the top. Your right thumb was on the top. Okay. And raise your hand if your left thumb was on the top. That would be the rest of you, because there's only 2 options here. Okay. So just so you know, statistics show that it is really literally about 50-50. And there's like no rhyme or reason as to which it is. It's, even in the same family, some have the right thumb on the top, some have the left thumb on the top. Different places in the world have more of a tendency to have the right versus the left. I'd like for you to cross your arms, if you would. Indulge me. I'll take a look. How many of you have the right arm on the top? Raise your hand. How many of you your left arm on the top? Raise your hand. Oh, there's more lefties. Wow. Interesting. All right, now indulge me again. I want you to raise your hand if you had the same arm on top as you had the thumb on the top. Also interesting. All right. What does it mean? I don't know. It's just a little game for me. Let's move along. No. Okay, so studies show that, you've heard about being right hemisphered versus left hemisphered. All right, so those of you that had the right thumb on the top and your right arm on the top, you are more than likely left hemisphered. You are more than likely the more logical, the more analytical, the more science and math and technology. Not necessarily. Studies haven't proven it 100 million%, but more than likely. I know for me, I was right, and I am a math major, and I'm extremely analytical, extremely logical, so for me, it is true. For those of you that were left, you tend to be more creative, more artsy, maybe a little less likely to jump on the technology bandwagon, but you're probably more of a people person, and you're probably a little more creative, maybe friendlier. And then what about those of you who, swung both ways there? You might be a little bit of both. You might be the best of the best. You might be able to do both. How great would that be? All right, so you can think about it. I think of it like horoscopes, right? Like if I read my horoscope and I like it, it's true. And if I read my horoscope and I don't like it, horoscopes, forget them. I don't believe in them, right? So let's move along here. So then for fun, I thought, and I know you're not all facility managers, but I did a little search, and I found an article, and I found a bunch of articles. So this is one of the articles, the top 3 essential qualities of a good facility manager. This was written by a company that happened to have a technology product. So of course, the top 3 things they came up with were decisiveness, analytical skills, and tech savvy. All right, so that would be, well then those of you that had the right on top, you would be all in, right? You'd be in great shape. But then I read a bunch of other articles, and they said that the number 1 most important skill for a facility manager was, and by far, just so you know, this was like in a zillion different articles, is the number 1 most important thing was people skills. And that's like the whole other side. There's a lot of highlighter on that side. So for those of you that were left, you guys are all in. So just stuff for you to think about. Like, what does it all mean? All right, now I'd like for you to do it again. Go back to where you were. Have you ever done this before? You tried to switch it? Now switch it. Oh my gosh. Put the other one on top. Oh my gosh. Is that uncomfortable or what? Isn't that awful? All right, I'm going to challenge you. So this is what change is like. It's so uncomfortable. Oh no, it's like when somebody told you had to get off of AutoCAD and move to another product like Revit. Oh my God, no. Okay, I challenge you. Let's see if you can do it for the whole entire session. And if you make it, I have a prize for you. Okay, I only have 10 prizes, so if more than 10 of you do it, I don't know what I'm going to do. But nevertheless, let's see if you can do it. It's very, very uncomfortable. In fact, it's been proven that once you learn to do it one way, almost impossible to switch back to the other way, just so you know. Not forever. You could do it temporarily for the length of this meeting. Maybe you can do it for the length of this meeting. We'll see if you can do it. And you know what else this is really great for? This keeps you from pulling out your phone no matter how boring the speaker is. Let's see how you do, all right? You ready? All right. So, change is uncomfortable. Write that down. The most important part of this quote is that my entire life I've been waiting to quote Justin Bieber. Actually, I'm pretty sure in my entire life I never thought I would ever quote Justin Bieber. All right, but it's uncomfortable. That's one of the things that we don't like about change is it's uncomfortable. We like to be comfortable. We like to do what we feel like a cozy chair, like a cozy couch. We do not go out and buy uncomfortable couches unless they're really cool looking. That's different. But nevertheless, we like to be comfortable, right? We like our comfort zone. But if you want to be outstanding, you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, unfortunately. The good news is eventually you will be comfortable again. That's the good part. It does get better, right? Okay, the other thing we don't like about change, the other issue with change, and I say there's two things. The other thing that we run into is fear, that big fear factor, okay? Unfortunately, when it comes to change, we have this massive fear. But the fear isn't of change itself, right? We're not afraid of the change itself. We're afraid of what's going to happen. We're afraid of the unknown. But if you could look into the future and if you could see that it was going to be better, if you knew that you invested in that technology, and if you could figure that technology out and that your world was going to be way better and you could get your jobs done faster and if you could save money and it was going to be even fun maybe and a better experience, you would be all in. You would totally do it. If I came to you and I said, if you quit your job, in 3 months you're going to have a job that pays you 50% more, and you're going to be happier, and you're going to have a better boss, and you're going to work with people that you like even more, would you do it? Probably, you probably would. If you knew for sure, if it was a fact, if it was certain, you would probably do that, but we don't know that. We have no way of knowing those types of things. So consequently, we're often not willing to make major changes in our life because we can't predict the future. But if you could, you would be much more willing to change. But we have fear, right? We have fear. So, speaking of fear, and Michelle talked about this as well. Boy, talk about fear. When AutoCAD came out, this is release 1.4, and which incidentally came out, well, AutoCAD came out 37 years ago. 1.4 did not come out 37 years ago, but this is how old AutoCAD is. It's been around a long time. I started with release 1.4, this particular one, back when, as I said, dinosaurs roamed the earth. I am so grateful to my kindergarten teacher for having the foresight to put AutoCAD into our classrooms back then. Yeah, I Miss Grayson, that was nice of her. Right after the flashcards for math, we learned CAD. And but nevertheless, you know, AutoCAD's been around a really, really, really long time. Hard to believe it's been that long. And you want to talk about instilling fear and discomfort into the lives of people. This was the world back then. Is there even one woman in this room? I think there's one in the back standing. She's probably getting them coffee. Or bourbon, I don't know, back then. I don't know. It was a very different world back then. And, you know, the land of CAD came along. Talk about instilling discomfort and fear. So I started out in the land of CAD by teaching CAD. I joke around, I never actually drafted. I'm sorry, but I didn't. I just started teaching CAD. I know, it's crazy. But nevertheless, I was this peppy little thing who went into a classroom, yay, I'm going to teach you guys CAD. People hated me. They absolutely hated me because I was making them learn this product that they did not want to learn. And back in those days, I wasn't just teaching them how to use CAD, I was teaching them how to use a computer. They had no idea how to use a computer. You know, I would tell them to hit F1 and they would hit the F key and then they would hit the 1 key. I mean, they had no idea what this computer thing was. They had no idea at all. It was very painful. I had more than one person who stood up and said, this CAD thing is never going to catch on. I could have drawn this 10 times by now. And probably, if any of you started to use Revit, you probably said, I could have drawn this in AutoCAD 10 times by now, right? Anyway, if you make the move to other software, we do that all the time because we're always really good at what we already know how to do. Okay, just so you know, that CAD thing caught on, right? That CAD thing caught on, especially when governments came along and started mandating the DWG format and so on and so forth. But I can't blame them. It was scary, it was awful, it was terrible. People were upset it was taking the artistry out of it, which, let's face it, it did, right? All right, then we embraced CAD. We all got really good at CAD. We loved CAD. Oh my gosh, what? This BIM thing came along. That'll never catch on. I mean, I said that. Get out of here. Nothing's ever going to be better than AutoCAD. No way. Well, way. And then, of course, governments are starting to mandate BIM. Same thing happened all over again, and the world is moving over to BIM. And now you guys are here at this conference, and you're talking about going from BIM, to smart campuses. And yet many of you are still trying to embrace BIM. Can't get to smart campuses until you fully embrace BIM. But I totally understand why you haven't, and we'll talk about that. FM, it's kind of tough for you guys. So we'll talk about smart campuses too, because they're fun to talk about. So making the move to BIM, right? We are all nervous about making the move fully to BIM, and in our minds, we visualize it, and I'm sure you've heard this before too, right? Oh, it's all technology. We've got to make this huge shift to technology. It's 90% technology and just a little bit sociology, when in reality, I want you guys to know, it's really just a small amount technology and a huge amount sociology. There's a lot more sociology. So think about, let's go back to your little hemispheres. Who's going to be the most successful here, right? Where were you? Which thumb was on top? Which arm was on top? So I'm going to throw just a few facts. I don't have to convince you guys that BIM's not going away, right? You know that, right? Right? I don't have to convince you, do I? No. Here's your facts. It's not going away. Governments are mandating it all over the world. It's not going away. So the industry is moving. I don't have to convince you of any of this. And then this is an old slide. I can't find any new slides that compare the different industries. If you have one, I'd be very grateful. But I can't find any new ones. But believe me, numbers are a little bit higher. But basically, the different players are about the same as far as who's embraced it. Hey, look, you're not as bad as the engineers. Next week, I'm the keynote for Trimble next week for the MEP guys. You think you guys are bad. Yay! Okay, so, but FM adoption is low everywhere. So, and there's a reason for that, and we'll talk about that. I mean, you guys know. I don't have to tell you why, but so why don't you embrace BIM? Well, let's have a little chat about that. This is, how many times have you seen this slide? I love this slide. Let's talk about this. This is Desire BIM project execution, right? Okay, it starts out, the designer and the architect, they come up with this building information model, and they put this information in there, and then they hand it over to the engineers, and the engineers say, thank you very much. This is exactly the way I wanted this model to be. I don't have to do any rework at all. Thank you so much. And then they take it, and then they add their information into that, and they hand it over to the contractor, and the contractor says, thank you so much. This is exactly the way I want this model to be. I don't have to do any rework at all. I certainly don't have to do any AutoCAD drawings. And then he takes it and he hands it over to you guys, and you say, thank you so much. This is exactly the way I want this model to be. It doesn't have any extra information that I don't want to have, and it has the exact information that I want it to have, and it fits perfectly into all of my CAFM software, and I'm so happy. Thank you very much, right? This is what I call the BIM fantasy. This is what you have been preached the whole time, right? It's going to be beautiful. There's long walks on the beach at the end, right? Okay, so this is the way it really is, though. There's this big BIM cliff, right? Am I right? But that's not the way they sell it to you. This is the way it really looks like. Ah! That's what happens. I get it. You can relate. And these are some staggering statistics, right? $15.8 billion each year spent on interoperability issues in the FM industry. $10 billion of that is fronted by the owners. Congratulations. And that is because BIM models are built for constructability and not for maintainability. BIM, building, is a verb, to build. It's not a noun. This is what you get. Oh my God, what are you supposed to do with that? Way too much information, and not the right information, right? I don't think you care about the rebar in the chemistry lab. Do you? Maybe you do, I don't think you do. And incidentally, do you know what they call a drawing like that? Do you know what they call that? BIM porn. This is what you need. You need a facility information model. You need FIM, which I thought was my own acronym until I saw you had a class by CAD Micro. Where's Mark? You came up with it first. I'm hurt. I'm really hurt. I saw that this morning. I was like, what? I thought it was my own. Has everybody been saying this for a long time, and I just thought it was my own phrase? It's been going on forever. Don't upset me, because I really thought it was just me. Because then I continued, just so you know. I said, we are all feminists. That's what I said. We need a facility information model. None of this BIM nonsense. So look at it, I just kept going. Look, see, I kept going. You deserve a FIM model. I just kept going and going and going. Because let's face it, 80% of the total cost of a building occurs after handover. You deserve your FIM rights. Want me to keep going? I got FIM buttons. I want it all. All right, I feel your pain. Okay, who's still there? Who gave up? Who's still there? Oh, good, I'm gonna have enough Starbucks cards. Look at, wait a minute, raise it, 1, 2. And only the people, oh, we got one in the back. I was like, clearly only the ones in the front. What? The rest of you, wimps. And you probably have your phones out. Congratulations, the rest of you. Just see if you can keep it. Starbucks cards. There's only $1 on each card, but you know. There's more than that. I'm joking. I'm joking. For you, the $1. So I can't even get a cup of coffee for that. All right, so why aren't you embracing BIM? This is why you aren't embracing BIM. Okay, so first of all, you have it all figured out. You got it going. You've been doing it. You've been able to get your job done. You are comfortable. You've got that easy chair going, right? You are in the comfort zone. And there's a fear, right, of it taking longer to get that model updated. And you probably talked to other people who've said they put that one little step in BIM and they said, oh my gosh, it takes a long time to update that model. Have you done that? Have you talked to other people? Like, it takes a long time. It takes a long time. We'll talk about that. Anybody? Oh, it takes a long time. No, it doesn't. It does if you take one little step, you put one little step in BIM, you're right, it takes a long time. You gotta be all in. Why haven't you? There's a change in process. Ooh, that's really uncomfortable. Super uncomfortable. And that also sounds scary to me. There's a change in software. Oh my gosh. You can have my AutoCAD when you pry it out of my cold, dead hands. Yeah, I am really good at AutoCAD. Don't be messing with me. I can program it. I know AutoLisp. Don't mess with me. That sounds really scary. There's a lot of fear there. And besides, you can get, like I said, you get your jobs done, and you know it can be more efficient, but hey, it works, right? Anybody, you guys have that one maintenance guy that knows everything? Joe. I call him Joe. He's always named Joe. No? You got that one guy who knows everything? You don't even need BIM. Forget it. You don't need it. He is BIM. He's all there is to know. He knows where everything is. I hope Joe never retires, though, or goes on vacation, or gets sick. In the FM industry, is a lot of institutional knowledge that does come and go. I'm sure you've noticed that as well. So we really, really need to document everything that Joe knows. Joe has a lot of job security. So why should you embrace BIM? I know you guys love your O&M manuals and you love your paperwork. You like going through all of that. So BIM is very well populated, right? It's searchable. You can find information very, very quickly once you have that documentation on there. And I know you guys know all the BIM stuff. I don't need to preach this to you, so I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. I'm sure you get all of this. And how long after construction does it take for you to get that as-built? As-built, that's funny. Sorry. I like it better that way. It probably feels like that sometimes because it takes you forever to get it, doesn't it? Anybody waited longer than a year to get it, the as-built information? Anybody? Oh, man, ouch. And you still did a good job. I love it. You're awesome. All right. That's impressive. And then what do you do for that year? You just guess. Looks good. Yeah. So when you have a BIM, you're not supposed to say BIM model. Did you know that? Because that's really redundant. Building information model. You're not really supposed to say that, but I'm going to say it anyway. But you have one single source of truth. If you keep it up to date, it is one single source of brilliant truth, right? Where you can make clear, educated, smart, concise decisions. And then your maintenance team. This is the goal, the absolute goal. A little easier said than done, but it is the goal. They can find all the information they need. That's the goal. Tablet, smartphone, where they can, let's say there's a noisy fan in the chemistry department. It seems like everything always goes wrong in the chemistry department. But there's a noisy fan in the chemistry department. He can technically look up all the information about that noisy fan. He can figure out what tools he needs to fix it before he even gets there. He can look up the part numbers. He can look up the manual. He can go to the website and get all the information. Imagine if everything could be done in just one-stop shop, one time. Imagine that. How much money that would save. That would be fantastic. And what if you didn't have to pull apart all the ceiling tiles to find something? Some of you work in historic buildings. You don't want to be punching holes places if you don't have to, right? Wouldn't that be great? That would be wonderful. It would be fantastic. You guys know all this stuff. How about takeoffs? How about figuring out how many windows you need to have cleaned? Trying to figure out how much to pay the window washer. All of that can be done very, very quickly. How about how many sidewalks you need to have plowed? All of that can be found out very, very quickly. How about paint? How much time do we spend measuring walls for paint? And then remeasuring them in case we didn't get it right. And then still buying extra paint, because that's what we do. All of this can be done very, very quickly. All of this is pretty basic. You guys know all about the land of BIM and everything that it offers, so I don't want to run through all of these that you've heard a million times. Being green, being sustainable. You know who likes that? Generation Z. They love going to schools that are green and sustainable. That's important to them. Say millennials, but they're already out. And then energy analysis simulations. You can do earthquake simulations. You can do flood simulations. You can do fire simulations. You could actually set a fire in a fake parking lot and see exactly how it's going to spread. You could set a fire anywhere on the campus without actually setting a fire on the campus. You can do all different types of testing and emergency preparedness. Can't do this with 2D models, by the way. How about a sun study? I just like to tell this story. It's the only reason I have this one on here. Do you guys hear about the walkie-talkie building in London? This is a fun story. So they didn't do a sun study on that. Well, it turned out that when the sun hits a particular position, it actually fries cars on the sidewalk. That's a Jaguar. It fried a Jaguar, brand new Jaguar XJ. Guy came out to get in his car. It was fried, melted his car. That's awesome. And how about, being able to punch holes like this for systems before you ever put it up where it's not safe to do that up in the air. You can do it on the ground before you ever have to put it into place, because there's such certainty because of the model. And I like this story. This is at the University of West England. Somebody needs to change that light bulb. Sure, it's extremely high up there. That should be easy. Well, it's not easy at all. In order to change that light bulb, they had to get this special spider mobile elevated working platform. They go to bring it in, it cracks a whole bunch of tiles in the floor that they didn't plan on. So then they decided they had to put some wood underneath it so it would stop cracking all the tiles. You can see they put that underneath there. And it took a lot of work and effort to change this one light bulb. I'm sure when the architect designed it, he thought, oh, no problem. And I'm sure when the contractor put that up there, he thought, well, this is going to be hard to change, but not my problem. And I'm sure when everybody looked at the AutoCAD drawing, they didn't think it was a problem either. So something, I don't know, how much does it cost when you pay a maintenance guy to change a light bulb? Like $20, half an hour maybe? It cost them over $1,000 to change that light bulb. That's a lot of money. I'd change them all while I was up there. Change them all. So they're up there. Now, if you knew that that was a problem, so here we have a BIM model. It's clear, if you saw this, you'd go, hey, wait a minute, I don't know if that's such a good idea. Or if you decided to go ahead with it, maybe you'd select a different floor so that you weren't cracking tiles all the time. I don't know, you would come up with a different solution. But this is something where you have a robust 3D model, you can make educated decisions. And if you were included early on, instead of at a later date, you would have probably made a different decision. And now I know you guys have space planning software, whether you made the move to BIM or not. But definitely when you get into 3D, you can make even better, more educated decisions. And it was recently a survey was done with colleges where they said that the #1 issue with space planners in colleges was identifying swing spaces. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what it said. I read it. If it's on the internet, it must be true. So when you have a robust 3D model, you can make much better decisions. And once again, same idea. Being able to, when it comes to remodels and renovations, to make great decisions. You can do coordinations, you can do scheduling, you get to move to 4D, you get to move to 5D. So many more capabilities. And how about visualizations? Who can read 2D drawings? Very few people can truly understand 2D drawings. And if you're trying to sell any ideas to higher up the ladder, it's so much easier to sell them on 3D visualizations. And that's really where BIM plays so well into the cycle. And then I just like this because I like Starbucks. That's why I have Starbucks cards. This is a Starbucks in Japan. This is using Revit Live, if any of you have that fabulous product, which is super easy to use. This is just simply a Revit model plugged into Revit Live. It looks like it's really, really hard to do. It's not really, really hard to do. But basically having somebody being able just to do a walkthrough of something, of an idea that you came up with how you want to change a space at your university or your college. You want to sell it, set it up like this. Okay, so what if you don't already have a FIM model? Is OSU here? Because I stole this from OSU. Sorry, but I put you up there because you guys are kind of the poster child for BIM, man. They are. So they have lots of FIM models. I acknowledged it. I'm only using it today. Or I'll give you $20. Maybe a Starbucks card. How about that? So if you don't already have a FIM model, and I remember years and years ago, I did a presentation for FM at USC. I remember that, and I remember them telling me that they had, here you're in situations where you have so many existing buildings, and you don't have time to create all of these models in Revit or pick your software of choice. Hey, you know who loves to do that? Students. That's why God created students, absolutely. So if you don't already have Revit models or whatever software you choose to use set up for you, put those students to work and get them to do it the way you want them to do it with just the information that you want them to have in it. Why not? I say that's what you should do. No? Can't you do that? They did it at USC. I know they did. They told me they did. All right, so what are you going to do? How are you going to get your FIM models? All right, so you need, of course, you need to realize that the design team and you have different focuses. You already know that. You've been witness to that. Things are different between you and them. BIM is definitely focused on the construction, the design intent, the fabrication, but you guys are focused on space management and the maintenance and things like energy performance. You guys separate. It's almost like the men are from Mars, women are from Venus, totally different. You guys are looking at things completely differently. And you need to make sure that you get to that table early, right? If you can, get there as early as possible. I think some of that discussion went on yesterday. And it's just really, really important for those of you on new projects that you get in there and you let them know what you need. And you need to explain to them what you need, and show them, remind them of that 80-20 rule, that 80% of this building, right, of the cost of this building is as a result, is of that cost of the building is after they hand it over to you, and that you need to have the right data and the right information. And not only tell them what you want, what you really, really want, but tell them what you don't want, what you really, really don't want, right? That's super important. Ideally, they'll just hide a bunch of that stuff that you don't need. And of course, it's going to take more effort on their part, so they're not going to like it. But it needs to really, really be part of that BIM execution plan. Thankfully, you don't have to do the BIM execution plan. They do that. But it needs to be clearly in the BIM execution plan so that the deliverable, the handover to you, has what you need in there. Do you need it in Kobe? Do you need it in XML? Whatever it is you need to be successful needs to be in there. Okay, now I did a webinar for Imagine It, where I went into a great deal about changes in software and a lot more detail that I'm not going to go into today. So if you're interested in all of that, you can certainly Google me, Imagine It, BIM, you'll find the webinar, and I think it might even still be up on your website. But nevertheless, the thing that people worry about the most, of course, is that change in software, and I'm just going to give you my one line. If you can learn AutoCAD, how many of you know AutoCAD? Look, if you can learn AutoCAD, you can learn anything. It's the hardest software product out there, I'm telling you. So hard to learn it. If you can learn it, you can learn anything. So you got to have some faith in yourself. All these other products, how old is AutoCAD? 37 years old. These other products are new, they're friendly, they're easy. AutoCAD was written for all things, for all people, very hard to learn. So many different ways to do anything in AutoCAD. So once again, you learn AutoCAD, you can learn anything. So have some faith in yourself. And not everybody on the BIM team needs to learn, on the FM team needs to learn all the software either. Only the ones that are going to be going in and updating the model, so keep that in mind. Okay, and now, so if you have been in a scenario where you kind of like put one foot in and then it didn't go well, so you're like, this BIM thing's not working, you got to jump in with both feet, I'm telling you. It's not going to work with just putting your toe in. I cannot emphasize that enough. And I see heads nodding. And you're not going to have a return on your investment until you jump in with both feet. And that's scary because you're like, I just want to try it, or I'm not going to believe it. But you have got to jump in with both feet. You've got to be all in before you're going to really see a return on investment. And it's really difficult to explain that. And it's scary. That's scary. And that's uncomfortable. But that's, if you just do a little bit, you're not going to see that big return on investment. I'm just going to tell you that. And there's a lot of stats out there to prove that. I got some I can send to you. So the reality is it doesn't happen overnight. You're probably going to need to invest in better hardware, and that's, you have to talk to the powers that be for that. And you're going to spend more time on your projects at first. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail fast forward. It's going to take longer. It's going to be uncomfortable. But eventually, like anything, you're going to get better at it. And in the long run, you're going to have a much better success rate. You're going to be much better off. Okay, and if you can't get your team to have a positive attitude, it's not going to work. So attitude is half of it. No, all of it. So as a result, your campus is going to be seen as more progressive. It's going to be more desirable to students because then you're going to be able to make that next move. And we'll talk a little bit about that. You're going to be able to get more done with less It's like this made up number of 30% time cost savings. I made it up. That was the lowest number that I saw of all of the different stats and figures. I saw 80%, 60%, 40%, 30% was the lowest one. I just grabbed it. They're all out there, all different stats on how much you will save in time and money. Okay, this is why it matters to you. The heck with the school. What about you? Do you think you'll be more valuable if you learn BIM? If you add BIM to your resume, do you think that you'll be worth more money? Absolutely. Absolutely. Will you yourself be more marketable? You know, when there's so much resistance to people learning new software products or learning new technology, I'm always like, what? Why? Especially if I had any way I could get a company to pay for me to learn these new things, I'm all about it. Because then you yourself become much more valuable. You can go out, let's say you don't want your job anymore, you have more abilities to go out and get a higher paying job, getting a better job. It's what about you? What about you? What about you? So think about it that way too. All right. Let's talk a little bit, before I leave you, about smart campuses. I'll come back another time. We'll just talk all about smart campuses. What is a smart campus? Who wants to go to a smart campus? All of those kids in Generation Z, they all want to go to a smart campus. They all want to be connected. They want everything to be automatic. They just expect to go to a smart campus. So when you're trying to get the funding to make the move to BIM, I would say it's another stamp on the marketing brochure, the smarter your campus is, for sure. Absolutely. I had a heart attack because I couldn't plug in my charger in my hotel room next to my bed. I had to plug it in across the room. Hello? It was terrible. I had to walk across the room to plug in my phone. Hopefully your students don't have to do that. They'd be like, I want another college right now. These guys have high expectations, really, and you know, your beautiful historic colleges, you know, I love those beautiful buildings, but they're all about being connected, right? So I'm going to talk about 3 different levels of smart. Now, I'd say most of us have connected campuses. I love it when someone says, yes, we have a smart campus. We have Wi-Fi. I hope y'all have Wi-Fi, right? Everybody's got Wi-Fi. And I'd say that most of us, for sure, have or at least connected campuses. So, you know, you've got the cloud apps, the virtual classrooms, the distant learning, all that stuff. But I would say for a connected campus, you're really talking about the technologies that are plugged in for the benefit of the owners. The goal is to save money, all right? So you've got the energy efficiency, but it's really for the benefit of the owners. I mean, for example, what is this? Do you know what this is? Some of you know what this is. This is what you do when the lights go out, because the sensor doesn't know you're in the room anymore. That's a connected campus, all right? So the focus is on saving money. So a smart campus is focused on the students, on the faculty, on the teachers, focused on you, the people that are inhabiting the campus, right? On the experience, improving the experience. It could be everything from, you know, how crowded is the library right now, or what's the noise level at the coffee shop, or, you know, where's the available parking? That was my son's #1 complaint about college, was no place to park. You know, it has a higher IQ. It takes advantage of the Internet of Things. So you just call it smarter, because for some reason people don't like the Internet of Things. So we call it smart. Internet of Things is fine. Nothing wrong with Internet of Things. It just isn't apparently friendly enough. And then, what time is it? You didn't give me my signal. Do I have plenty of time? So I have this video. It has music, but I didn't plug in the sound. It doesn't matter. The music doesn't matter. So this is the Autodesk Boston office, which, you know, one of the great things about making something smart is it requires sensors, and sensors are cheap. And the Boston office, the Autodesk Boston, now this video is kind of a fake made-up office, but nevertheless, I think you get the general idea. And as I show this to you, you will see, well, I can talk over it because there's no music. But so, I don't know if you can tell, but the temperature is just a little, you know how to sound it. The temperature is a little high, like by 2 degrees. Here we are in Austin where it's, you know. So the system is checking it out, making sure everything's okay. Heaven forbid the temperature should be 2 degrees too high. And then it's realizing that there's an issue. What? Alert, alert, alert. This is all happening behind the scenes. You guys don't have to do anything. You're sitting in the back with your feet up on the desk, relaxing, drinking a margarita. You don't have to worry about anything. It signals the maintenance man. I'm sure he loves that. He can pull up the maintenance manual on his phone, figure out how to fix it. He's able to fix it very quickly. And then it signals that everything is okay. Oh my gosh, look how much work she gets done now because the temperature is back down to 70. And she's so happy. That's the way your universities and colleges are going to be in the future. Absolutely. Isn't that wonderful? So that brings us to the last, the intelligent campus. Even smarter than the smart campuses, right? That's where you have the introduction of AI and machine learning. And I promise they won't take over and whatever, but that's where, you know, the chemistry lab learns something and then it talks to the biology lab and it learns it too. Everything continually gets smarter and smarter and your jobs are a piece of cake. The good news is you don't have to, you can't get, you can't get to any of these until you fully embrace BIM. Jump in with both feet. You have to jump in with both feet. All right, so do not go back to your 2D ways. That's the moral. Don't do it. I like quotes. Success is awarded to those willing to do the uncomfortable. And speaking of that, who's left? Who still is there? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Stand up. Can you stand up for me, please? Stand up. Yay, applause for the, stand up. 1, stand up. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so those of you who are left over, we go over here. Congratulations, I am so impressed. If you would afterwards, please come up and I will give you your Starbucks card, which I promise are worth more than $1. $1.50, $1.01. Thank you so much. And then, just remember, everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear. So here you are at this conference. There's so many great sessions. I encourage you to really take it all in and then start to think about how when you go back to the office, how you can really embrace this technology and apply it to your lives and move on with the ultimate goal, of course, of having that smart campus. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And have a great rest of the week.
And Lynn, we all want to thank you by giving you this handy dandy little cooler with some special Starbucks cards inside for you. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much. Not really Starbucks cards in there.
It might be.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just kidding. We actually know you like wine.
Well, I know there's not wine in there
Here,
because it's pretty light.
Let's take a look at it, huh?
I have 3 minutes to open it up and look.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm going to take it open. There's a card. And there's a wine stopper.
With the horns.
With the horns. And a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Wow, nice.
That's a T-shirt. And a cooler for the fun.
Very nice. Thank you.
So
very
much.
Sweet. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.
Lynn Allen, everyone.
Thank you. Lynn Allen, everybody. Thank you.